Hi everyone and welcome back to Chess for Charity. In this video, I'm going to do a bunch of mate in ones on Lee chess. So I filtered by puzzle theme and I got to mate in one. So the exercise is to see if I can find any patterns, see if I can find any cool ones, and just see what we can get. I may get a few wrong, but that's okay. Okay, first one. I'm seeing rook takes and the king is trapped. Okay, that's not a bad first one. I'm seeing mate here. Take with the queen, not the rook, or else you lose. Or else it's not a mate, I should say. So it's black to move, right? So I have to, this is a good one. See, this is a good geometric one, right? I could see people being tempted to go here, and rook takes, and then rook block, and it doesn't work, right? If you calculate that. Instead, you need to cover this rook through the king. I like that one. That's a good one. Okay. Look at this pattern here. So the king is essentially stalemated at the moment. So if you could just give check, you'd win. Well, there's check right there. Okay. Same idea here. Right now the king has no out squares. So can I give check? Yes, I can. Right here. This one looks like, oh, there's a rook here. How about just take it? I was thinking there were two for a second there. This pawn I want to keep controlled by the rook, and I want to defend this rook by hopping the knight in, and that will block these out squares. That's a beautiful one. So I think it's just about getting reps, right? It's just about this square is covered from this pawn, so this is mate. It's just about getting a bunch of puzzles under your belt and seeing patterns as they emerge. This is mate because that square was covered. Same idea with, like, this is similar to that one in the beginning with the rook and the queen. I need to cover this square, and instead of doing it like by here or whatever, instead I have to go all the way to the end to defend the square through the king. Ouch. Pawn mate. That hurts. That square was covered from this rook. This is pinned, so that means this is free, and this is covered. That's a lot of thises, but that works. Okay, same idea. This square is covered from the knight. So that's a wonderful arrow from that knight. So if I can just give check here, that is mate. I always like these ones because these ones, you have to move the rook. And someone goes, well, why can't I move it here or there or there or there? Anywhere, really. Well, then the king just goes back. So I have to move it one of these places. The question is, does it matter where I move it? Can I move it here? Is that the same as moving it here? Well, one question you have to ask yourself normally is, can something interject? Can it interpose? And right now, there's nothing that can block on this diagonal. So it seems like anywhere works. Okay. This one looks nice. This is, I think I was referring to this the other day. Like this, cover that square, right? This is where the king would run away. If I went queen here, the king runs away and I have nothing. So if I go queen here, there's no blocking. This queen is out and everything's covered. Boom, 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 boom. And this guy is the MVP for holding this square. Boom. Okay. This is mate. You just blocked your own defense of what is that, C7? That's mate. Okay. This square is where the king would go if I checked with the queen, right? Or maybe back here. And then what? Instead, give check. Cover the square. My queen is here. My bishop's holding these two. So just mate in one. I think these are helpful. It helps, like, I don't know, it helps me. Maybe it's not helping you, but it helps me kind of see the temptation. Like, there's a move that looks good. Like most people, I think, they see the capture. They look at the queen here in some way. But it's simple. Sometimes it's simple. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Making the best move on the board is always the best idea. Okay, rook there, and that's going to be that. I think some people associate chess with this like deep psychological stuff. Like you have to outplay your opponent on the board, but also in their head. If you make the best move on the board, you win, right? Doesn't matter. That's double checkmate. That's a cool one. I should do a challenge, win by double check. I gotta put that in a list. Here, these are covered. Queen's covering all these. Okay. This is covered from the bishop. So if I just check you here, you can't get away. Okay. So I see that this guy is currently unprotected. Well, how do I protect this bishop? Well, I could go here, but that's not going to give check. I could go here, but that's not going to be supported. So the obvious answer is here. You're covering the squares, and you win. Okay. Ooh, look at the differences here. Look, this is the beauty of different pawns, right? If I take with this pawn, that opens up b5. I should start naming the coordinates. If I take here, b5 is open. If I take here, from e4 takes d5, the square is no longer open, and this back rank is covered from this rook. Bishop is cutting through. That is mate. That's a good one. Okay. That square is being held. That square is being held. That's being held by the pawns. So right here is mate. That's nice. Okay. This one is not immediate to me. Can I just push the pawn? Oh my gosh, I can just push the pawn in the middle of the board. In the middle of the board, pawn mate. Look at that. That is a cool one. I feel like you don't see that very often, where it's just push the pawn in the middle of the board and it's mate. Nice. Okay, well this pawn and this pawn, that's the bishop, Frank. That is pinned. So right here is mate because that bishop cannot move. It's easy to miss that, surprisingly. Go backwards, not forward. If you go forward, you let him out. You go backwards, you can't get out. This guy's the MVP again. Okay. That's mate, right? Just put your bishop here. I think the temptation, people see this move and they go, okay, what if I, sack here first and they take, or they take with the queen, but it seems like this doesn't work, right? You just take it. So instead, just mate in one. Mate in one will win the game. You don't have to worry about mate in 4 or 5 or all that. Right here, let's mate. Okay. I've kind of lost track of how many puzzles I'm at here. Same idea. We've seen one like this before. We've seen 2 like that before. What about here? Oh, nope. Okay. Well, you could go here or here, right? With this rook, this knight is supporting 2 different squares. Well, if you go to h3, this square is covered from the rook. This square is covered from the knight, from the rook, from the pawn, and the rook. So this is it. Okay, I think I'm at about 30 puzzles, and I think I'm going to stop in just a moment. Maybe I'll do one more nice one. So let's see. Queen here. Is that mate? That's mate. And how about this? Queen here. This rook is supporting that square. I want like a nice one. One of those kind of pretty mates. Ooh, like this one. This one's kind of nice. The knight is holding these 2, and the pawn's holding that. So this rook, of course, guarding these. This pawn is also helping. Rook here is mate. Right? Look at how weird that looks. Right in front of open king. The open king is so open. Okay, I think that's it. I push this pawn, that's mate. The problem is these go to next puzzle immediately. So I will just never stop. I'll just do this until my stream runs out. Okay. Well, luckily, I have a little button here I can hit stop. So pushing the pawn, that's a nice way to end it. Mate with the pawn. This is covered from the knight, and this is covered from the rook. Beautiful. Okay. Well, that is it. That is it for this video. It was a lot of fun. If you enjoyed the content, please be sure to like on YouTube and consider subscribing. Half of all the income that I earn on this channel will go directly to charity. So please consider subscribing and it will help me out. Thanks so much. Bye.